Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something right now. Have you ever wondered what women true do you know what the greatest secret is behind a woman's deepest desire? It's not what most people assume. It's not about expensive gifts. It's not about looks. And it's definitely not about how much strength you can show. What women crave more than anything else in the bedroom and in life is emotional connection. Why? Because emotional connection is the invisible bridge that links her heart to her body, her mind to her desire, and her soul to your presence. Without that bridge, you can try every trick in the book and still miss the mark. With it, even the simplest touch, the simplest word can feel unforgettable. Think about this for a moment. A woman can't fully relax, she can't fully let go, she can't fully surrender herself unless she feels safe with you. Safety doesn't mean locking the doors and dimming the lights. Safety means she trusts you with her emotions, her vulnerabilities, her hidden world that no one else gets to see. Isn't that powerful? When she knows she is seen, heard, and valued for exactly who she is, she opens up to you in ways that no physical technique could ever achieve. Now, here's the educational part that most men ignore. Emotional connection isn't built in the bedroom alone. It's built in the small, consistent actions you show every day. Do you really listen when she talks, or do you just nod while waiting to respond? Do you remember the tiny details she shares, the kind that others forget, but that secretly matter to her? Those details are golden keys. They tell her he pays attention to me, he values me, I matter to him. And when a woman feels she matters to you, she'll give you a version of herself that is raw, passionate, and free. But let's get deeper. Emotional connection isn't about being soft all the time. It's also about being strong enough to handle her storms. Women test not just your patience, but your emotional depth. Can you remain calm when she's overwhelmed? Can you still hold space for her when she's at her weakest? Can you show her that you won't disappear when things get messy? That stability, that calmness, that strength, that's what builds unshakable trust. And trust, my friends, is the foundation of intimacy. You see, most people rush into the physical because they think that's the shortcut to passion. But real passion is never rushed. Real passion is when she feels your presence before you even touch her. Emotional connection is that magnetic field. It pulls her in before you even reach out your hand. Imagine this, you're with her, but instead of jumping straight to what you want, you take the time to look into her eyes, to notice how she's feeling, to ask her what she needs in that moment. Do you know how powerful that is? She thinks, wow, he actually cares. He's not just here for himself, he's here for me too. And when she feels that, she'll respond with energy, openness, and passion that will blow your mind. Let me break this down practically, because emotional connection is not just a feeling, it's an action. Start with presence. When you're with her, be with her. Put the phone away. Silence the distractions. Listen with your eyes, not just your ears. Ask yourself, does she feel my attention? Or does she feel like I'm half here and half somewhere else? Because half attention never builds full connection. Next, learn to validate. Validation doesn't mean agreeing with everything she says, it means letting her know her emotions are real and important. If she says, I feel exhausted, don't just reply, you'll be fine. Instead, say, I can see how hard you've been working and I admire your strength. Do you feel the difference? One shuts the door, the other opens her heart. And here's the hidden gem. Women don't crave a man who solves every problem. They crave a man who understands them. Understanding is intimacy. Sometimes the most romantic thing you can do isn't buying flowers, but saying, I get you, I see you, I hear you. Those words, when backed by genuine action, unlock a level of closeness that no amount of physical effort could ever replace. Now, let's bring this into the bedroom. Do you know what foreplay really is? It's not just physical. It starts long before. It begins when she feels emotionally held. If she feels you respect her, care for her, and value her, then her body responds naturally. Desire flows when the heart is connected. Without that connection, intimacy can feel mechanical. But with it, even the simplest touch can send sparks through her soul. Here's the shocking truth. Emotional connection is the real key to unforgettable intimacy, and yet so many overlook it. Why? Because they're focused on performance instead of presence, on rushing instead of feeling, on taking instead of giving. But when you flip that script, when you make her feel emotionally safe, deeply valued, and truly understood, everything changes. So remember, this emotional connection isn't an option. It's the foundation. It's the reason why some relationships feel alive for decades while others burn out quickly. Women don't just crave physical closeness, they crave emotional intimacy that makes the physical feel magical. And when you give her that, she won't just remember you, she'll never forget you. Expanded Keynote 82A. Confidence over perfection. Do you know what truly captures a woman's attention in the bedroom and beyond? It's not the shape of your body. It's not how many hours you spend in the gym. It's not even the clothes you wear. What women crave most is confidence. Pure, unshakable confidence. Perfection? That's an illusion. Confidence? That's magnetic. Why is confidence so irresistible? Because it communicates strength, security, and self-belief. When you walk into a room with confidence, you don't need to say a word. Your energy speaks for you. Women feel it immediately. They can sense if you're comfortable in your own skin or if you're hiding behind a mask of insecurity. And here's the truth, they don't need you to be flawless. They need you to be real, but real with certainty in who you are. Think about this carefully. How many men destroy their own chances because they obsess over perfection? They worry about their looks, their technique, their body, their performance. They compare themselves to others, and in doing so, they forget the greatest truth: women don't fall for perfection. They fall for presence, passion, and confidence. Let me give you an example. Imagine two men walk into a room. The first man is physically perfect, muscular, tall, sharp, dressed. But his shoulders are slouched, his eyes dart around nervously, and he avoids speaking with conviction. The second man is average looking, maybe even imperfect in some ways, but he walks tall, his voice is steady, he smiles with certainty, and he owns his space. Tell me, who do you think she notices first? Exactly, the confident one. Because confidence radiates something perfection can never give: authentic power. And here's the educational truth: confidence is not arrogance. Arrogance says, I'm better than you. Confidence says, I know my value and I don't need to prove it. That's the difference women can sense instantly. Arrogance pushes them away. Confidence pulls them closer. Do you see how powerful that is? Now let's talk about the bedroom, because this is where men get it wrong all the time. They think women are analyzing their body, their performance, or their ability to be flawless. But guess what? Women don't want a man who is obsessed with being perfect. They want a man who makes them feel safe, desired, and free. And you can only give that when you're confident in yourself. Confidence in the bedroom is about presence, not pressure. It's about slowing down, taking control with calm energy, and showing her that you're not afraid to explore, not afraid to lead, and not afraid to listen. Confidence tells her you can relax, I've got this. And when she feels that, she lets go of her own fears, her own insecurities, and surrenders to the moment fully. That's when intimacy becomes unforgettable. But let's dig deeper. Where does this confidence come from? It's not born overnight. It's built. Confidence comes from self-respect, from knowing your worth, even if you're not perfect, from investing in yourself, and from practice. The more you show up with authenticity, the more your confidence grows. It's like a muscle. Use it, and it gets stronger. Ignore it, and it gets weaker. So let's break this into practical steps. First, own your flaws. Yes, own them. Confidence doesn't come from hiding imperfections. It comes from embracing them. When you show that you're comfortable with yourself, even with your so-called weaknesses, you show her that nothing can shake your energy. Do you know how attractive that is? Second, speak with conviction. Stop apologizing for your existence. Stop shrinking your words. If you believe something, say it clearly. If you want something, ask for it directly. Do you realize how much desire grows when a woman hears confidence in your voice? She doesn't want hesitation, she wants certainty. Third, move with intention. Confidence is not only in words, it's in body language. Stand tall, look her in the eye, don't fidget nervously, and when you touch her, touch with purpose. Do you know what kills passion faster than anything else? Uncertainty. But when you show her that your actions are steady, strong, and intentional, she feels secure in your energy. And let me remind you of this: confidence is not about being flawless in the bedroom. It's about being adaptable. Maybe something goes wrong. Maybe things don't go as planned. Do you panic, or do you laugh? Stay relaxed and continue with presence. That moment shows her everything. If you stay calm, she sees a man who is grounded, and that alone keeps her desire alive. Confidence also means not competing with others. Too many men sabotage themselves by comparing. He looks better. He has more experience. He's more successful. Stop that. A woman doesn't care about the competition, she cares about the connection. And when you show her that you're secure in who you are, she doesn't even notice the other noise. Here's another truth most never realize: women often mirror the energy you bring. If you're nervous, she becomes nervous. If you're confident, she feels safe enough to let her passion rise. So ask yourself, what energy are you bringing? Because whatever you bring, she will reflect back to you. That's how powerful confidence really is. So, perfection, forget it. It's a myth. Confidence, that's the secret women crave deeply, not because it looks impressive on the outside, but because it makes her feel incredible on the inside. It tells her, I am safe, I am valued, I can let go here. And that, my friend, is more attractive than a flawless body, a perfect plan, or a rehearsed performance. When you give her confidence, she gives you trust. And when she trusts you, she gives you all of herself, her passion, her fire, her desire. That's the reward of confidence over perfection. An expanded keynote Vade 3a. Communication is the real foreplay. Do you know what most people get wrong? When it comes to intimacy, they think foreplay starts with touch, with hands, with lips. But here's the surprising truth. It doesn't start with the body, it starts with the mind and the heart. And the fastest way to reach both is through communication. Yes, communication is the real foreplay. Why is this so powerful? Because before a woman lets you into her body, she needs to feel that you're already connected to her soul. Words can spark desire, conversation can build anticipation, and listening, really listening, can turn her trust into passion. When you communicate with intention, you don't just talk, you unlock the deepest parts of her desire. Think about this. How many times have you seen couples who barely talk, barely share, barely connect outside of the bedroom, then expect fireworks inside it? It doesn't work that way. If her mind feels neglected, her body will hold back. But if her mind feels engaged, understood, and valued, her body will naturally follow. Isn't that eye-opening? Here's something educational most people miss: women are wired differently when it comes to desire. For many, mental stimulation is the pathway to physical arousal. That means what you say, how you say it, and how you listen matters far more than you realize. A careless word can shut her down instantly. But the right word, spoken at the right time, can light her up from the inside out. Let me give you a clear example. Imagine two scenarios. In the first, you rush straight to the physical, barely asking how she feels, not paying attention to her signals, just trying to get there. What happens? She feels unseen, unimportant, maybe even pressured. Desire dies before it begins. Now picture the second scenario. You take your time. You lean in, whisper something that makes her feel wanted. You ask her what she likes, what she craves, what makes her feel alive. You listen with your whole presence. Suddenly, she feels safe, valued, and excited. Which scenario do you think awakens more passion? The second one, every single time. Because here's the truth: communication isn't just words. It's attention, it's tone, it's curiosity. It's making her feel like she matters. And when a woman feels like she matters, her walls come down, her trust goes up, and her desire flows naturally. But let's go deeper. Communication as foreplay doesn't only happen in the bedroom. It starts long before. The way you text her during the day, the way you compliment her in the morning, the way you look at her across the room, all of that builds anticipation. Desire isn't something that switches on like a light. It's something you grow through consistent communication. Every message, every word, every glance, it's all part of the build-up. And don't mistake this for empty talk. Women don't want shallow lines, they want authenticity. Saying, "You're hot," might make her smile, but saying, "I love how your mind works," or "I can't stop thinking about that smile," touches her deeper. Why? Because it shows you see more than just the surface. You see her. And that's what makes her heart race before you even touch her hand. Now here's an important lesson: listening is just as powerful as speaking. Do you actually hear her when she shares her feelings, or are you just waiting for your turn to talk? Because when a woman feels listened to, when she feels her emotions are respected, she doesn't just open her mouth, she opens her heart. And when her heart opens, intimacy becomes effortless. Communication is also about courage. Do you have the courage to ask her what she likes, what she dreams about, what she fantasizes? Too many men avoid these questions because they're afraid of the answers. But do you know what women crave? A man who is brave enough to talk about desire openly, without shame, without judgment. That courage builds trust, and trust builds passion. Think of communication as painting a picture. Every word is a brushstroke, every question adds color, every compliment deepens the shade. By the time you touch her, the masterpiece is already alive in her mind. That's why a whisper in the right moment can be more powerful than the strongest touch. And let's talk about vulnerability, because communication without vulnerability is just noise. When you open up about your own feelings, when you share your thoughts honestly, you create a safe space for her to do the same. Vulnerability is intimacy, and when you both communicate with that openness, the bedroom becomes a place not just of passion but of deep connection. Now let's make this practical. Want to turn communication into real foreplay? Start with curiosity. Ask her, what makes you feel most desired? Listen without interrupting. Then reflect it back in your own words. Show her you actually understood. Next, use affirmations. Tell her what you love about her, her laugh, her courage, her intelligence. Be specific. Generic praise is easy, detailed praise shows attention. And finally, bring playfulness. Tease her, make her laugh, use humor to disarm her stress. Do you know how irresistible it is when a woman feels both desired and lighthearted? That combination is unbeatable. Here's the ultimate truth. Women crave communication not because they want endless words, but because they want connection. Words are the gateway to feelings, and feelings are the gateway to desire. When you treat communication as foreplay, you're not just building intimacy, you're unlocking passion that lasts long after the moment ends. So never underestimate the power of your voice, your words, your listening, your curiosity. They are not just small details. They are the keys that open the door to her deepest desires. And when you use them with intention, you don't just touch her body, you touch her soul. Have you ever noticed how in today's world everything feels rushed? People rush to work, rush through conversations, rush through meals, and sadly, they even rush through intimacy. But let me tell you something that can change everything you thought you knew about passion. Slow is powerful. Why? Because anticipation is the electricity of desire. When you rush, you strip away the magic. When you slow down, you build tension, you ignite curiosity, you make every second matter. Women don't crave speed in the bedroom. They crave depth, they crave the build-up, they crave the art of patience. And when you give her that, she remembers you not for a moment, but for a lifetime. Think about it. How does a great movie keep you glued to the screen? It's not because it gives you the ending right away. It's because it builds suspense, it reveals slowly, it makes you wait for the moment of release. That waiting is what makes the climax unforgettable. Intimacy works exactly the same way. Here's the truth most people never hear. Rushing sends the wrong message. It tells her you're more focused on the outcome than the experience. It makes her feel like a checklist, not a cherished partner. But slowing down says the opposite. It says, I'm here for you. I want to feel every second. I'm not just after a result. I'm after us. And that, my friend, is what women crave. Let me make this educational. The female body is not a switch, it's a symphony. Desire builds layer by layer, emotion by emotion, touch by touch. When you rush, you cut the music short. But when you slow down, you allow every instrument, mind, heart, body, and soul to play in harmony. That harmony is what creates true passion. Imagine this. Instead of racing to the finish line, you pause. You take a moment to look into her eyes. You let silence speak. You let your hands move slowly, deliberately, with intention. Each touch becomes amplified because it's not rushed. It's savored. Do you realize how much more powerful that is? What would feel ordinary at high speed suddenly feels extraordinary when slowed down. Slowing down also shows control. Anyone can rush, but only a confident, grounded, emotionally strong man can take his time. And that control communicates something deeper. It tells her she's worth the wait. That's the secret most men miss. When you go slow, you're not just teasing her body, you're reassuring her heart that she matters. But let's get real. Slowing down doesn't mean being boring. It doesn't mean dragging things endlessly. It means pacing with awareness, building layers of desire, and keeping her anticipation alive. It's like music, sometimes soft, sometimes intense, sometimes pausing just long enough to make her crave the next note. That rhythm, that's what makes passion unforgettable. Here's a powerful truth: when you rush, you may satisfy a physical urge, but when you slow down, you awaken an emotional storm, and women crave that storm, not because of what you do, but because of how you make them feel during the waiting. Desire grows in the space between moments, and slowing down doesn't just apply to touch. It applies to words, to looks, to energy. The way you take a pause before speaking, the way you let your eyes linger, the way you let silence create electricity, that's foreplay in its most powerful form. Sometimes, the quiet moment before the kiss is more passionate than the kiss itself. Now, let me break this down practically. If you want to master the art of going slow, start by controlling your breath. When your breathing is steady, calm, and intentional, it signals to her that you're present and in control. Next, focus on pacing. Don't move to the next step immediately. Let her feel the build up. Let her feel seen. Let her feel the anticipation rise. Finally, mix patience with surprise. Tease her with pauses, then give her bursts of intensity. That contrast makes everything 10 times more powerful. And here's the hidden gem. Slowing down gives you power too. Because when you control the pace, you control the energy. You create space for connection, for eye contact, for emotional depth. You're no longer chasing the moment, you're owning it. That ownership is confidence at its highest level. So ask yourself this: do you want to be remembered as someone who rushed through her, or as someone who made her lose track of time because every second felt like forever? The answer is clear. Slow is not weak. Slow is powerful. Slow is what turns ordinary moments into extraordinary memories. When you understand this, when you embrace it, you'll discover that intimacy isn't about racing to the finish. It's about savoring the journey. And the slower, the deeper, the more intentional you go, the more unforgettable you become. Do you know what surprises most men when it comes to intimacy and relationships? It's not the grand gestures, not the expensive gifts, not the perfectly planned nights out. What truly captures a woman's heart and awakens her deepest desire are the small, consistent gestures, the ones that prove she's seen, valued, and truly cherished. Those little actions, they have a far bigger impact than most people realize. Why are small gestures so powerful? Because they carry a message that words alone cannot deliver. I thought about you. I noticed you. I care for you even in the smallest details. That is what melts her heart, lowers her defenses, and makes her feel safe to give herself to you fully. Think about it. Anyone can buy flowers once in a while. Anyone can plan a vacation. Anyone can post something sweet on social media. But not everyone remembers how she likes her coffee. Not everyone sends her a simple, "I'm proud of you" text before her big meeting. Not everyone kisses her forehead when she's stressed or pulls her in close just because. Those small gestures communicate love in a language far deeper than grand displays. Let's get practical and educational here. The human brain is wired to respond strongly to consistency. A big gesture can create excitement in the moment, but small, repeated acts of care create lasting emotional security. For a woman, that security translates directly into desire. She thinks, if he pays attention to me outside the bedroom, I can trust him inside the bedroom. Do you see how powerful that is? Here's a truth you won't hear often. Intimacy doesn't start when the lights go off. It starts when you notice the little things during the day. Did you remember her favorite song and play it when she needed cheering up? Did you put your arm around her when she felt uncertain? Did you celebrate her tiny wins, not just the big ones? Those are the moments that build trust, affection, and anticipation. That's the real foundation of passion. Let me give you an example. Imagine two men. The first thinks intimacy is all about performance. He skips over the daily gestures. He doesn't notice her emotions, but he tries hard in the bedroom. The second man is attentive throughout the day. He remembers her laugh, encourages her dreams, holds her hand when walking, and notices when she's quiet. Which man do you think she'll respond to with more passion at night? The second one, always. Because women don't separate emotional connection from physical intimacy. The two are deeply linked. And small gestures are the glue. But here's the mistake many make. They underestimate these gestures because they seem too simple. They think, how could something as small as a compliment, a smile, or a touch on the back mean so much? Yet science proves it. Our brains release oxytocin, the bonding hormone, during small acts of care. That hormone increases trust, closeness, and yes, desire. So the truth is, small gestures aren't just sweet. They're biological power moves. Let's talk about what these gestures look like in action. They can be as simple as holding her face gently when you kiss her, writing a short note and leaving it in her bag, remembering how she likes her food, or noticing the effort she puts into her appearance. They can also be about presence, turning off your phone when she's talking, giving her your full attention, or simply saying, "I hear you." These little actions tell her you are special to me. And when a woman feels special, her intimacy with you transforms completely. Now, let's take it into the bedroom directly. Do you know what small gestures look like there? They're not about complicated techniques. They're about sensitivity. Adjusting to her reactions. Noticing her breathing. Whispering, "I love the way you feel." smiling at her in the middle of passion, pausing to look into her eyes instead of rushing forward. These are the small, powerful things that make intimacy not mechanical, but magical. But let's go deeper still. Small gestures are also about consistency, not just once in a while efforts. If you only do something special when you want something in return, she will feel it. Women sense intentions. But if you consistently show care in the small things, even when you expect nothing back, she'll trust that your love is real. And trust is the doorway to passion. Here's another truth. Women often measure love not by what you say, but by what you do. Words fade, but consistent small actions leave imprints on her heart. If you say, "I love you," but ignore her emotions, the words lose meaning. But if you show it through small gestures, even without saying a word, she will feel it deeply. And that feeling makes her want to give back to you in ways words cannot explain. Now let's address the myth of perfection. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to do everything flawlessly. You just need to care enough to try. Even a small, imperfect gesture, like cooking her favorite meal but messing it up, will mean more to her than doing nothing at all, because the gesture itself says, "I thought of you. I tried for you." And that effort is priceless. So remember this, the grandest passions are built on the smallest actions. A kiss on the forehead, a compliment whispered in her ear, a text that says, "I can't wait to see you." These are not small, they are the building blocks of intimacy, trust, and desire. When you master them, you don't just win her body, you win her heart. And when you win her heart, the bedroom becomes a place of fire, freedom, and unforgettable connection. Do you know what too many men get wrong when it comes to intimacy? They obsess over performance. They focus on techniques, tricks, timing, and whether they're doing it right. They treat the bedroom like a stage and themselves like actors, thinking the goal is to impress. But let me tell you the truth that changes everything. Women don't crave performance, they crave presence. Why is presence more powerful than performance? Because performance is about pressure, but presence is about connection. Performance says, "I need to prove myself." Presence says, "I'm here with you fully in this moment." Which one do you think women desire more? It's obvious. Presence wins every single time. Here's what many forget. Intimacy is not a competition, and it's not a show. It's not about replicating something you've seen or hitting perfect moves like a choreographed dance. It's about being there with her, body and soul, without distraction, without insecurity, without pressure. When you give her your full presence, you give her the one thing performance can never deliver: authentic connection. Think about it. What happens when a man focuses too much on performance? He overthinks. He worries. He checks himself constantly. Am I doing this right? Is she enjoying it? Do I look good enough? That worry pulls him out of the moment. And when he's not in the moment, she feels it. She senses his mind is elsewhere. And do you know what that does? It creates distance, not closeness. But presence does the opposite. When you're fully present, you're not thinking about the past, not worrying about the future, not distracted by doubts. You're simply here. You're noticing her breathing, her eyes, her movements. You're listening to her body like it's speaking its own language. And when a woman feels that level of attention, she surrenders fully because she knows she has all of you. Here's the educational part. Presence triggers something very real in the brain. When you focus deeply on the moment, your nervous system calms, your energy grounds, and you project confidence. At the same time, she feels safer, more relaxed, and more open. Presence reduces anxiety and amplifies intimacy. It's biology, and let's be honest, performance is exhausting. Trying to be perfect drains your energy and creates unnecessary tension. But presence is liberating. When you're present, you don't need to be perfect, you just need to be engaged. She doesn't remember flawless techniques. She remembers how you made her feel. She remembers whether you were distracted or fully tuned in. And the man who is fully tuned in always wins her heart. So what does presence look like in action? It looks like eye contact that doesn't wander. It looks like slowing down enough to notice her reactions instead of rushing to the next step. It looks like asking her what she likes and actually caring about the answer. It looks like putting away your phone, your worries, your ego, and giving her your undivided focus. That focus is worth more than 1,000 performances. Now, let me give you a powerful truth. Sometimes presence means silence. You don't always need words. Sometimes it's the quiet, the stillness, the way you breathe with her, that speaks louder than anything else. Women don't crave a nonstop show. They crave moments of connection where they feel your soul meeting theirs. And that only happens when you're present. Here's another mistake men make. They think presence means doing everything for her. No! Presence is about being with her, not just doing to her. It's shared. It's reciprocal. When you're present, you're not performing at her, you're experiencing with her, and that shared energy is what makes intimacy unforgettable. Let's break it down into practical steps. First, eliminate distractions. Presence starts with focus. If your mind is cluttered, clear it. If you're tired, breathe and reset. She deserves your full attention, not half of it. Second, tune in. Pay attention to her sounds, her movements, her breathing, their signals. Don't just assume, respond to what she gives you. That responsiveness, that's true intimacy. Third, be emotionally available. Presence isn't just physical, it's emotional. Ask yourself, am I open? Am I vulnerable? Am I letting her feel my heart, not just my body? Because that's what she really wants. And here's something educational many overlook. Presence extends beyond the bedroom. It's in the way you look at her during dinner, the way you listen to her stories, the way you hold her hand without rushing. The more present you are outside of intimacy, the more natural it becomes inside. Presence is a habit, not a performance. Now let me challenge you with this thought. Would you rather be remembered as someone who put on a great show, or as someone who made her feel so deeply seen, so deeply loved, that she forgot about time itself? Every woman will tell you the second is what matters most. Because techniques fade, but presence creates memories that last forever. So here's the truth. Stop worrying about performing. Stop comparing yourself to unrealistic standards. Stop trying to get it right. Instead, get it real. Be there. Be fully alive in every moment with her. Give her your mind, your attention, your soul. Because in the end, women don't crave the man who performs the best. They crave the man who is present. And presence, my friend, is the ultimate secret. Ooh, I crave in the bedroom?